Hello and welcome to my first video I'm working on in regards to my 2022 market project lamb. I'm literally sitting on a playground because my brother's at the skate park and this is legit the only free time I have. So sorry for an awkward setting and possible noise in the background. But let's begin. Just for reference, today is Wednesday, April 7th. I filmed the parts of me making the stall yesterday, and I'm planning to pick up the lamb on Sunday, May 1st. So first to set up their stall, I had to clean it out. It was fairly clean, as the last time an animal was living in it full time was October for the sheep, and we've been using it on and off during winter just for bad weather. So for the most part, it was clean, but there was some dust and clean shavings left over from the last time we used it, so I just wanted to make it spotless. Being in a barn, dust is pretty hard to avoid. I sewed everything into a pile, then shoveled it off into a bucket which you cannot see. This is just a clip, not the whole thing. Keys are also another popular cutting utensil for shavings. It usually works, but in this case the bag was upside down, so I struggled. Now I add a thin layer of shavings. The reason we use both shavings and straw for sheep is because straw isn't as absorbent. However, sheep can't be on just shavings because shavings get caught in their wool. I pour it out of the bag and then kick it around. To do this, you could also spread it with a broom or a fork pick, which I sometimes do, for some reason, especially at shows. But my feet work great too. The layer of shavings ended up being a little thicker than I wanted it to be, but that's okay. Next, I will put the straw down. Just for reference, here's what a full bale looks like. This one's a little wonky. You can see in this video, me just kind of shaking it around. I normally either throw a few flakes down or shake it. I know by now in this clip, the straw looks like it's pretty full, but now I'm just finding any gaps. We don't want gaps in the straw because then that exposes the wool to shavings, and the sheep might try to eat the straw, so we want to make sure there's as much of it as possible. I think it's time you meet my helper. This is Whimsy. Whimsy's a horse at our barn. Since straw and hay are very similar, the horses are always so upset when I'm setting up a stall with straw because they're like, hey, why are you wasting all that hay? No pun intended. Whimsy, however, likes straw. This is what the finished straw looks like. Now here's the fun part with the straw, tying the bale back up. I had moved the bale into the front of the stall so I could put it out, but the bale isn't stored there, so I have to be able to tie it back into a bale to be able to carry it to where it does belong. You can't really carry loose flakes of straw together. Tying it isn't always easy because you have to tie super tightly, yet you only have two hands. And there's always some scraps that fall out. Gotta tie both strings up nice and tight. There we go. Straw's not the only thing we're putting in this stall. Now to put everything else in. This clip shows me putting their hay bag up. I decided to use a hay bag this year because sheep aren't supposed to eat hay off the ground too much. So this just helps with parasites. And since the hay is in a bag, less of it will be wasted and mixed in with the straw. So the way this hay bag works is there's two straps on the top, then a strap on the bottom so you can fold it up to hang it. You see here me just fiddling with the straps and trying to shorten them. And there we go, folding it up so the hay bag itself is shorter. And I like this because that means there's less room for the sheep to possibly get caught in it. I chose this hay bag with the smallest webbing so their feet don't get caught in it. But we don't want it 2 feet long either. Here it is. I moved it down a level, but you get the idea. Now to stuff it with hay, which looks like this. Whereas this is straw. The difference between straw and hay visually is that hay is green and leafier, shown here. Hay should have a sweet smell. We can see that all the pieces are different shapes, whereas the straw is just bulky yellow pieces. Yes, Whimsy, it's hay this time. Fine, you can have a bite. Straw is a great bedding. However, straw has no nutritional value. It is not toxic to animals in any way, but eating it is just like eating water, except for it's not needed. Whereas hay is a very necessary feed source and high in all sorts of things like fiber and protein. Here's what the hay looks like in the hay bag. Now to hang up their water buckets. I use water bucket hangers because with sheep, if there's a way to dump something, they're going to dump something. This video has been sped up. I use 2 water buckets because they go through water quickly. So when it gets hotter out, if I don't use 2, they won't have anything to drink. It's not much an issue in May, but it's easier just to put them out now so I don't forget. On the other side of the hay bag, I hang a 3rd bucket up for their minerals, which I didn't film. Then I just put the grain dish in the stall so I didn't lose it. Now the stall's all ready for the sheep. I'll put water and minerals in when they get here. Well, and there we have it. Notice the change of scenery? It is now Sunday, so I just now did the editing for the part about the straw on. Usually I don't mention these things, but I just thought it was interesting how busy I am. Anyway, thank you for watching. Bye.